Recording in progress.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Krishnaya Paramatmane Namaha Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Shri Kanto Matulo Yasya Janani Sarvamangala Janakashankaro Devaha Tam Vande Kunjarananam Yonta Pravishya Mama Vachamimam Prasuptam Sanjeevayatyakila Shakti Dharasvadhamna अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् श्रीहरये नमः. We are almost at the end of chapter 5, which is Sannyasa Yoga, and every commentator of Bhagavad Gita gives a very unique and beautiful perspective on it. That is the reason why they are still cherished in their own realm, in the sense like people who resonate with Jnaneshwara, that too people who have Marathi as their mother tongue, many of them just read Jnaneshwari on a daily basis. It is like roti and chawal for them. First Jnaneshwari and roti chawal. So that is how integrated Bhagavad Gita is in the life of many. And one of the things that Jnaneshwara says at the end of this chapter is he gives an example. Hey Krishna, because Krishna is going to talk about Dhyana Yoga next. So he says, hey Krishna, even if I am not able to swim and cross a river, I will walk around it, even if it takes time, because I don't have the ability, so I can walk around. So even by making progress on a consistent daily basis, even if it is very little, I can make things, I can achieve what my goal is. So Arjuna says that to Krishna. It is not there in Bhagavad Gita, but this is the imagination. I don't want to call it imagination, but this is how Jnaneshwara views when he introduces the next chapter to Arjuna. What I wanted to bring from that analogy was that even if we make very small progress over time, we do make a consistent amount of coverage over time. So we are at the end of chapter 5, which is Sannyasa Yoga, and there are only 4 more shlokas left. It is a very, very small chapter with only 29 shlokas. And we saw that Bhagavan said, Labhante Brahma Nirvanam Rishayaha Kshina Kalmashaha Chinnadvaidha Yatatmanaha Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. Labhante Brahma Nirvanam Rishayaha Kshina Kalmashaha Chinnadvaidaha Yata Atmanaha Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha Rishayaha Labhante Brahma Nirvanam. In that instance, there was a very beautiful map that the Bhashyakara gave, where he said, first work on your mental problems, kama krodha. So kshina kalmashaha. So these are the kalmashas that we have. So first work on your personality. The likes and dislikes that you have, minimize them. So first do that, and then you live a life of values that is very peaceful and joyful in the society. Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. They are people who enjoy life in the society because they have good values, and interactions with other human beings becomes very pleasant when you have good values. So Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. And then he said, Yata Atmanaha. So control your senses. Atmanaha here means indriyas. So yatatmanaha, you control your senses. And then even with all these things, still the problem of the main problem of a jiva is that he does not know his true nature. And that comes only through study of scriptures and clarity of what one's true nature is. So he said, Chinnadvaidhaha. So you take away your doubts by engaging in study of Gita and other scriptures. Yatatmanaha Brahma Nirvanam Labhante. So they attain freedom. So here, moksha, Brahma Nirvanam, Shanti, all these words just mean total freedom from all limitations. So, Chinnadvaidaha, Yatatmanaha, Sarvabhuta Hite Rataha, Brahma Rishayaha, Kshina Kalmashaha. These are all the adjectives of a person who is attained that, and it becomes the list of things that needs to be prescribed to a sadhaka. So these are the things that somebody needs to follow to be able to get there. So Kshina Kalmashaha Labhante. So, and then Bhagavan wants to enumerate some things and explain what are all the things that makes this freedom possible when you are alive. Meaning, does the freedom occur to people only after they are dead? Because in theology, in any religious theology, you reserve the ultimate state of a person for something to happen after death. Bhagavan has a different view here. He wants to talk about what is possible here and now, Iha. And Bhagavan says, Ganesh, do you want to read with me?
Sure, Swami.
Kamakrodhaviyuktanam
Kamakrodhaviyuktanam
Yatinam yatachetasam
Yatinam yatachetasam
Abhito Brahma Nirvanam
Abhito Brahma Nirvanam
Vartate Viditatmanam.
Vartate Viditatmanam.
Let me read once and then Ganesh, you can read again. Kamakrodhaviyuktanam Yatinam yatachetasam Abhito Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam. Go ahead.
Kamakrodhaviyuktanam Yatinam yatachetasam Abhito Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam.
Thank you. Kama Krodha Viyuktanam Yatinam Yatachetasam Abhitaha Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Vidita Atmanam. These are the words in the verse. Bhagavan says, Kama Krodha Viyuktanam. Viyuktanam, those who are free from what? Free from Kama and Krodha. Viyuktanam, Kamasya sau Krodhasya Viyuktanam. They are free from likes and dislikes. Kama is all the likes that we have, and Krodha is all the dislikes that we have. So this person is free of likes and dislikes. Kama Krodha Viyuktanam. Yata Chetasam. Here Chetas means the mind. Chetana. We have that term even in Hindi. Yata Chetasam. Those whose mind is restrained. Yata Chetasam. Those who have control over their thoughts. Yata Chetasam. And then this is the second Visheshana or the adjective. So first was Kama Krodha Viyuktanam. They are free from desire and aversion. The second is Yata Chetasam. They have controlled their senses. And then the third is Vidhita Atmanam. Who know their real self. Atma yena viditaha te viditatmanaha. They know the real nature of their own self. Vidhita Atmanam. Who are they? Yatinam. So they are sannyasis. Yatinam. For them, Brahma Nirvanam. Brahma Nirvanam. Here it means moksha. Absolute freedom. Brahma Nirvanam Vartate. It takes place. When? Abhitaha. Here and now. So that is what Bhagavan's primary idea here is. So when you have these characteristics, you are free here and now. You don't need to wait until the body falls. So Kama Krodha Viyuktanam Yatinam Yatachetasam Abhito Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam. Oneness with Brahman. Brahma Nirvanam takes place here and after for the self-restrained, free from desire and dislikes, whose mind have been restrained and who know the Atman. Kama Krodha Viyuktanam. Let us look at the Bhashyam. Kama Krodha Viyuktanam. Kamascha Krodhascha Kama Krodhau. Those are two things. Likes and dislikes are Kama Krodha. Tabhyam Viyuktanam Yatinam Sanyasinam Yatachetasam Sanyata Antahkarananam. So, who are free from likes and dislikes, and you have to be, once you are free from likes and dislikes, the name that is given to you in the Shastra is a sannyasi. Nyasa is to give up. Samyak, very nicely, he has given up. What? Actually, what he has given up is likes and dislikes. Then there is a sannyasa called a lifestyle. Here, Bhagavan is not talking about a lifestyle. That is one other thing. You can be a sannyasi and have a lot of likes and dislikes. That is up to you. Any matadipati will have a lot of likes and dislikes for themselves. But that is how they have to run their mutts. So that is not the subject matter that Bhagavan brings here. Here, Yatinam, who are free from likes and dislikes. Yatinam, Sanyasinam, Samyak Nyasinam, according to Shankara, not according to me. Yatachetasam, who have controlled their senses. Sanyata Antahkarananam. Here, Chetas means Antahkarana. Antahkarana is their inner self, inner senses. Sanyata Antahkarananam. That is the reason why they are all sannyasis. Sanyata Antahkarananam. Abhitaha, Ubhayataha. Abhitaha means both. Ubhayataha. Jivatam Mritanancha Brahma Nirvanam Moksho Vartate. For them, both in life and after death, they are always free. Jivatam Mritanancha Brahma Nirvanam Mokshaha Vartate is there for them. Vidita Atmanam. They know the nature of Atma. Who know that they are ever existing Atma. Jnataha Atma Yesham Te Viditatmanaha Tesham. It's in plural. So Viditatmanaha. Tesham Viditatmanam Samyak Darshanam Ityarthaha. So they have the right vision. This is the meaning. Samyak darshanam iti arthaha. Kamakrodha viyuktanam yatinam yatachetasam abhito brahma nirvanam vartate viditatmanam. So abhitaha brahma nirvanam is the key idea here, because right now there is oneness in Brahman. They are in that state, and they are free here and now, as well as they are free after this body falls. These Mahatmas, that one of the benefits for a sadhaka like us who are not in that state is that when you seek the proximity of a Mahatma like that, your thoughts automatically go back to its source. That is the reason why many visit saints and have their darshan, because it is not as though like some vision or some thing is going to happen to you or anything like that. It is just that their proximity brings a lot of clarity to your mind in itself, because your kama krodha goes down, because they are free of kama krodha. Thousands used to visit like Ramana Bhagavan or Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Mahapariva and so on. The reason is, when they are in their proximity, automatically their mind slowly went back to its source. They felt a certain amount of peace, because they themselves, that Mahatma, was free of kama and krodha. So kama krodha viyuktanam yatinam. Yet once a very great Mahatma took sannyasa recently, and that sannyasa ceremony, the person who gave sannyasa said one thing, which is, sannyasa is not a cup of coffee to be given to somebody. It is not like I am giving you a cup of coffee and you are taking a cup of coffee. Sannyasa is not like that. Sannyasa is not to be given or taken. Sannyasa is something that happens to a person. Sannyasa is a state that a person graduates to. He might change his physical appearance, but sannyasa is something that happens to a person. Yatinam yatachetasam. For that person, abhitaha brahma nirvanam. It is now and here. Interestingly, Ramanujacharya, while commenting on this verse, he says, Hastastam Brahma Nirvanam. For them, freedom is like something that is so clear to them, as though they are putting something that is visible in their own palm. They are looking at an object in their own palm. Hastastam Brahma Nirvanam. Like that, Abhitaha Brahma Nirvanam. It is so clear. So, kama krodha viyuktanam yatinam yatachetasam abhito brahma nirvanam vartate viditatmanam. Now, Bhagavan changes the topic and then makes another seed here, where he says, Samyak darshana nishtanam sanyasinam sadyaha muktihi ukta. Samyak darshana nishthanam sanyasinam sadyaha muktihi ukta. For so far, Bhagavan has elaborated on the fact that if you realize the truth, you control your senses, then you are free here and now. Samyak darshana nishthanam sanyasinam sadyaha muktihi. Here and now, mukti is. Then Bhagavan has talked about it. Karmayogascha Ishwararpita Sarvabhavena Ishware Brahmani Adhaya Kriyamanaha Sattva-shuddhi Jnana-prapti Sarva-karma Sannyasa-kramena Mokshaya iti Bhagavan pade abravit. Bhagavan has said it in every word. What has he said? Karma yogascha. He has said karma yoga is the path that leads to it. And then Ishwararpita sarva bhavena. By offering all actions as an offering to Ishvara, Brahmani adhaya kriyamanaha sattva shuddhi jnana prapti. So it gives you the purity of mind, and then in that pure mind, the real nature of the self reflects. Jnana praptihi kramena mokshaya. That leads to freedom from all the action in this order. He attains moksha. This has been said by Bhagavan again and again. Iti Bhagavan pade abravit. Vakshyati cha. He has said that. Ata idanim dhyana yogam samyak darshanasya antarangam vistarena vakshyami iti tasya sutrastaniyana shlokane upadishati sma. So what Bhagavan is going to... So all these are preparatory works that are external, that we have to work on. Then something that is very close to this freedom is the antaranga sadhana. bahiranga sadhana. Bahihi means outside, something that is a little distant. Then sadhana itself is divided into two. There are things that we do that first are very preparatory, which are bahiranga sadhanas, and then there are antaranga sadhana. So Shankaracharya says now in the next adhyaya, Bhagavan is going to talk about these antaranga sadhana. Antarangam vistarena vakshyami iti. For that, what he does is he always plants a seed. So sutrasthaniyane shlokane upadishati sma. He talks about the next idea that is going to come about in a very short and concise fashion. Sutrasthaniyane. Let us read what those shlokas are. Swati, do you want to help me with this? Can we read if Swati is
Arvind?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm driving. I'll be just parking it to 5 minutes.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, don't do that.
After that, I can read the next shloka.
Yeah. Sure. Gayatri ji, let's read if you're available.
Sure.
Yeah. Sparshan kritva bahirbahyan.
Sparshan kritva bahirbahyan.
Chakshushchaiva antare bhruvoho.
Chakshuksheva antare bhruvoh.
Pranapanau samau kritva.
Pranapanau samau krutva.
Nasabhyantara charinau.
Nasabhyantara charinau.
Yatendriya mano buddhihi.
Yatendriya mano buddhihi.
Munir moksha parayanaha.
Munir moksha parayanaha.
Vigatecha bhayakrodhaha.
Vigatecha bhayakrodhaha.
Yassada mukta yeva saha.
Yassada mukta yeva saha.
Thank you. I'll read both of them together. Sparshan kritva bahirbahyan chakshushchaivantare bhruvoho pranapanau samau kritva nasabhyantara charinau yatendriya mano buddhir munir moksha parayanaha vigatecha bhayakrodhaha yassada mukta eva saha. So when you split into 4 padas, you can do the sandhi visarga if needed. You have to. But if you read it together, you don't need to do the sandhi visarga. You can read it together. So however it is comfortable for you. I read it in both fashions, so you can read it like that. Bhagavan says, so sparishan kritva bahihi bhahyan chakshuscha antare bhruvoho pranapanu samau kritva nasabhyantaracharinau yatendriya manobuddhihi manobuddhihi munihi mokshaparayanaha vigatecha bhayakrodhaha yaha sada mukta eva saha. Sada mukta eva saha. The same idea is repeated, but then Bhagavan talks about how to do dhyana. So what is how to do dhyana is what Bhagavan says in these 2 verses. It's a small summary of how to do dhyana. So he says, Bahyane sparishane. Bahyane sparishane. Bahyan Sparshan Kritva Bahir Bahyan. We'll start where Bahyan Sparshan. That's how the Anvaya goes. What it means is that outward touch, Bahyan Sparshan, Bahihi Kritva, having put outside. Meaning, whatever is outside, he leaves it outside. What does that mean? We'll see it. Eva, indeed, he leaves it outside. Chakshuhu, vision. Bhruvoho antare kritva, having put concentration between the eyebrows, having concentrated between the eyebrows. Chakshuhu bhruvoho antare kritva, nasa abhyantaracharinav, movement within the nostrils, prana apanau, the two things, which is inhalation and exhalation, inward and outward breath, samau kritva, having made equal, and who, yaha, yata indriya manaha buddhihi, having controlled his senses, indriya, manaha, mind, buddhi, intellect, and then moksha parayanaha, he is param ayanam moksham iti manyavanaha. He sets his goal as moksha. And vigata ichha bhaya krodaha, having given up desire, fear and anger, saha munihi, that person is a sage, munihi, sada, always, muktaha, he is free always. Indeed, eva. Eva word is used to emphasize. So, the idea that is given in these two slokas together is that keeping the external objects external and the gaze between the eyebrows, keeping the inhalation and exhalation in rhythm, the contemplative person, Muni, who has mastered his senses, mind and intellect, he is free from desire, fear and anger. Vigata ichha bhaya krodhaha, that person who has put liberation as his goal, that person is always liberated. So, if these lakshanas are all found, he says, you will be free. So, let us look at the Bhashya. Bhashyakara has some nice ideas to share. Sparishan shabdadin kritva bahir bahyan shrotradi dwarena antaha buddhu praveshitaha shabdadayaha vishayaha tan achintyataha shabdadayo bahya bahireva kritaha bhavanti. So, sparshan, this word is used. Sparsha means to touch, actually. That's the literal meaning. But the contextual meaning that is seen in Bhagavad Gita in this term many places is like the external objects. Matra sparishastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha. So sparisha is or the external objects. So these external objects that hit the senses like sound, this person keeps it external, meaning he keeps his mind disengaged from these objects. So, Bhashyakara says, Shrotradi dwarena antaha buddhau praveshitaha shabdadayaha, that sound and other things. See, when somebody says something, it is not as though it just hits the eardrum, then the brain processes it. Then what happens is that the likes and dislikes that is there in the mind immediately comes forth, and then this sound is reflected on that screen and forms a lot of color. Shankaracharya says this person just does not let that sound come and touch his mind. Shabdadeyaha vishayaha tan achintyataha. He is not going to make that as an object for his thought. Shabdadayo bahya bahireva kritaha bhavanti. It is an external object, let it be outside. So he just peacefully leaves it outside. Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha, he just leaves it outside. Because what is Kama Krodha? It is just all the likes and dislikes is because you get all that unnecessary information into the brain and then build more and more complexes. Other than that, there is no use in all these things. So this person, he just leaves the world outside. तान एवं बहिः कृत्वा चक्षुश्चैव अंतरे भ्रुवोः कृत्वा. So you have to add the word कृत्वा again. Iti anushajyante, meaning he turns his attention inward. In a different place, Nasagra is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, and funnily, Shankaracharya said, if you keep on concentrating at the tip of the nose, you will get only the tip of the nose. The intention is not about the tip of the nose or the middle of the eyebrow or anything like that. It is just that you bring your attention to a certain concentrated spot. That's all. So he is paying attention to his attention as to where his attention is going. That is the intention here. As to when he says Chakshushaiva antare bhruvoho, bhruvoho madhye chakshuhu, he brings his attention in between his eyebrows for meditational purposes. So, and then what he does is he balances his breath. Tatha pranapano nasabhyantaracharinav samau kritva. So he balances his breath, inward and outward breath. So the first pranayama, if you go to any yoga, this thing that they would teach is equal amount of inhalation and exhalation. So that is the basic pranayama, that no kumbhaka, just puraka and rechaka in equal measure is what will be taught. So that is the pranayama that Bhagavan is also talking about. Yatendriya mano so kritva tata pranapano nasabhyantarcharinau samau kritva yatendriya mano buddhihi yatani sanyatani indriyani manaha buddhischa yasya saha yatendriya mano buddhihi. He has his sense organs and mind in control. He is a sannyasi. Mauna is, in fact, the definition of vanaprastha is maunam vanaprastham in the Shastra, actually. So, in fact, he controls his speech. So, basically, he controls the interaction with the world. Moksha eva param ayanam paragatihi yasya saha ayam moksha parayano munihi bhaved. He has fixed his ultimate goal as freedom. So, paragatihi, that is the ultimate goal, that he has put his mind to that ultimate goal. Vigata ichha bhaya krodhaha, ichha cha bhayancha krodhancha, ichha bhaya krodhaha te vigataha, yasmat saha vigatecha bhaya krodhaha. He is free from likes, dislikes, fear and anger. So, when you are free from likes and dislikes, fear and anger automatically goes away. So what is fear is that the fear of not getting what you like is fear. And the anger is the opposite emotion, where having gotten something that you did not like is the emotion that brings anger. So vigatecha bhaya krodhaha. Even ichha is not there, bhaya and krodha automatically goes away with ichha. So vigatecha bhaya krodhaha. So for that person, he has nothing to do for liberation. This is what Shankaracharya says. You don't need to do anything. Mukta eva saha na tasya mokshayanyaha kartavyo asti. Anyaha kartavyaha mokshartam na. He does not need to do anything else to be free. So this meditation, having controlled his senses, controlled his mind, controlled his thought, controlled his breath, once someone sits in meditation, he is automatically free. Is the thought that is given by Bhagavan. How to practice this meditation is the whole next adhyaya, which consists of like close to 50 shlokas. The next adhyaya is Dhyana Yoga. So that is the reason why Shankaracharya calls these are Sutra Sthaniya shlokas in his introduction to this, he called it Tasya Sutrasthaniyan Shlokan Upadishati. Now, Bhagavan Sma, he is going to. So, he taught already in the past tense. Sma. He taught these Sutrasthaniya shlokas. When the same idea is taught by Bhagavan in Bhagavatam to Uddhava, he says, hey Uddhava, for you to be able to control your senses, you need to understand one thing very clearly, which is the external world does not have any satta to it. It is always dependent on the satta of consciousness. World does not exist independently. It has to exist on the framework of consciousness. So unless you understand this, then you won't seek anything from the world, because world cannot provide anything to you. Yadidam manasa vacha chakshurбhyam shravanadibihi nashwaram grihyamanam cha vidhi mayamanomayam is how Bhagavan teaches Uddhava. A very beautiful teaching where he says the only way by which you can restrain from the world is only when you really understand that world cannot be the source of happiness for me. Whatever you receive with the mind, senses, you know that as impermanent and only at the mental realm for you. You are the one who is making up as to what this is nice and this is not nice in your mind. Yadidam manasa vacha chakshubhyam shravanadibihi nashwaram grihyamanancha vidhi maya manomayam is from the Bhagavatam. It comes in the 11th skanda, 7th adhyaya, 7th shloka, if you want to refer. That is a beautiful shloka where Bhagavan says you understand the impermanent and the nature of the world, that cannot be the source of happiness. So that is how you can withdraw the mind from the world. Or else you will be seeking something from the world. What is the next thing to do? There isn't any next thing, no next thing to do. So sparshan kritva bahirbhakyan chakshushchaiva antare bhruvoho pranapano samau kritva nasabhyantaracharino yatendriya manobuddhihi munir mokshaparayanaha vigatecha bhayakrodaha yaha sada mukta eva saha. That person need not seek liberation. Bhagavan says sada mukta eva saha, and Shankaracharya said he does not need to do anything more. So in yoga, that is the reason why this Agnya Chakra is where they ask you to concentrate, because it is easy for you to bring your thoughts and then focus in the Agnya Chakra rather than any other part. And it's Agnya Chakra is like many people think that these chakras are all physical and all. It's not a physical spot or anything like that. People think that you can put your all kinds of funny idea exists about Kundalini Yoga. Of course, that is for masters who have mastered that. I have no business talking about it. But the thing that we see from the masters of that yoga that they share is that these are not physical points in your body or anything like that. This is much more subtle than that. And Agnya is when your thought automatically gets a certain level of concentration when you focus it in between your eyebrows, Agnya Chakra. So basically Bhagavan says bring everything in order. If you look at this verse, what is he really saying is that your mind, your senses, your speech, all of it, your thoughts, all of it, bring it in order. This orderliness is what makes meditation possible for a person. So if somebody has that order in his life, he is free now and then. So this orderliness is the beauty of this verse that Bhagavan shares. So this becomes the seed of the next adhyaya. So Shankaracharya says, hey, having done all these things, evam samahita chittena, having controlled this one's mind like this, Kim vigyayam. What should he be doing? Iti uchyate. Bhagavan says, having controlled your sense, controlled your thought, having sat down in meditation, controlled your breath, all that you have done, having done all these things, of course you are free. But then what? Here Bhagavan says, Babuji, do you want to read with me?
Yeah, I can try.
Yeah. Bhoktaram.
1 second.
Yeah.
Let me get your screen. Where is it? Slightly bigger.
Follow me. You will be fine. Bhoktaram yajñatapasam.
Bhokta yagyatapasam.
Sarvalokamaheshwaram.
Sarvalokamaheshwaram.
Suhridam sarvabhutanam.
Suhardam sarvabhutanam.
Nyatva mam shantim richati.
Gyatva ma santi marchati.
Bhoktaram yajñatapasam sarvalokamaheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam nyatva mam shantim richati. So Bhagavan says, Bhoktaram yajñatapasam sarvalokamaheshwaram hridayam suhridam sarvabhutanam nyatva mam nyatva shantim mrichati. Having controlled his senses itself, he is free. But then Bhagavan adds sweetness to that. So it is like pure milk when it is compared in the Shastras that somebody who has attained physical and mental resilience and control is compared to a pure gokshira, a cow milk. And then when dhyana occurs in it, it is like putting sugar in it. So Bhagavan puts that sugar. What is that sugar? Bhoktaram. Bhokta. Yajna tapasam bhoktaram. The enjoyer of all the yajna and austerities. Here Bhagavan does not, Bhagavan talks about himself here. But he is actually not the enjoyer, but we'll see the Bhashyakara as to how he thinks himself as an enjoyer. Yajna tapasam bhoktaram. He is the enjoyer of the yajnas and tapas, austerities. Okay. Sarva loka maheshwaram, the supreme lord of the worlds. Sarva loka, all the worlds. Sarva loka mahat aishwaryam yasya. He has control over all of these. He is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Sarva Bhutanam Suhridam. Suhrid means a friend. The friend of all creatures. Sarva Bhutanam Suhridam. Mam. Me. Arjuna, don't think it is somebody else. It is me. Mam. Nyatva. Having known. Shantim. You get so much of peace. Richati, he attains. Shantim richati, together it makes Shantim richati. Shantim richati. Shantim richati, he attains. He who knows me as the sustainer of all the yajnas, austerities, the supreme, the friend of all beings, he attains eternal peace. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutanam nyatva mam shantim richati. Okay, let us look at the Bhashyam. Bhashyakara has beautiful things to say. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam. Bhokta means, karta means somebody who does it. Bhokta means who enjoys. We have seen this. A jiva is a karta and a bhokta. And Ishvara cannot be the bhokta. But how is he a bhokta? Shankaracharya explains. Yajnanam tapasam cha kratrurupena devata rupena cha sarvaloka maheshwaram. So one of the things is, it is like a child playing different roles. Say a child is monologuing and acting a drama by itself. So it becomes the teacher and then it also becomes the student for the monologue. Like that, Ishvara lends his consciousness to the Jiva so that the Jiva can be a Bhokta. So, Kartrurupena, so only because Bhagavan gives me the Chaitanya, I am able to do something. I become a Karta. And for me to become a Bhokta, Bhagavan has to become a Devata and bless me. So for me, for my Yajna or Tapas to become Saphala, Bhagavan has to make a Devata. So when I do Surya Namaskara, Bhagavan becomes the Surya Devata and says, Ayushman Bhava, may you live long. So may your eyesight be good. Then when you do pranayama, then Bhagavan becomes the Vayu Devata and said, may you be disease free. Like that, for every tapas that I do, Bhagavan becomes the according Devata. So the corresponding Devata and then blesses me through the Devata Rupa. It is all Bhagavan who is doing it. So it is very beautiful because in the Dvaita Sampradaya of Madhvacharya, where in the Karnataka belt and in the south it is very, very popular in those regions, when they do a puja, they might do a Ganesha puja, Durga puja, or any puja, but they will explicitly say in their puja that Ganesha Rupa, Ganeshantaryamihi Mukhya Prananda, Ganeshantaryami Mukhya Prana. I'm not saying it correctly, but this it will sound like this. Ganeshantaryami Mukhya Pranaha Mukhya Pranantaryami Sarvottamaha Harihi Saha Priyatam. Meaning, the supreme personality, the supreme being, Ishvara, is in the form of this Devata and blessing me. So that is how they worship anything. So even if they worship an image, they know that that supreme, all-pervasive being is the one that is being worshipped through this image. So that awareness they will bring every time they worship through any image. So here Bhagavan says, Tapasancha Kartrurupena Devata Rupena Cha. It is not just the person, but the Devata, it is also the person performing the austerity that is blessed by the Chaitanya of Bhagavan. Karta Bhokta Cha Bhagavan Sakshan Narayana Swayam. So Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Sarvesham Lokanam Mahantam Ishwaram Suhrid Mahan. So this Mahantam Ishwaram, he has enormous Aishwarya. It is not as though he needs something to be able to do anything. He has the capability of everything. And then, having done all that, what does he do? Suhridam, Sarva Bhutanam, Sarva Praninam. He is the friend. And what kind of a friend he is? Shankaracharya says, Pratyupakara Nirapekshataya Upakarinam. He sits in the heart of everybody and helps everybody without expecting anything from anyone. Such a friend he is. Pratyupakara Nirapekshataya. He has no apeksha for Pratyupakara. For anybody else, you do something and then it's not that he is expecting, even if it is a good friend, if you don't do something at the right time, he will feel bad. But Bhagavan is not going to feel bad. He knows. He is not expecting anything from this person. Sarva praninam pratyupakara nirapekshataya upakarinam sarva bhutanam hridayesham. He is the witness to all actions. Sarva karma phala adhyaksham. Sarva pratyaya sakshinam. So he stands as the witness and in the heart of every being. Who is that? Mam. Hey Arjuna, don't think it is somebody else. It is me. Hey Mam. Shankaracharya says, Narayanam. Mam, Narayanam Nyatva. If you know that Narayana, Shantim, you get that utmost peace. Sarva samsara uparatim sarvasamsaroparatim richati prapnoti. He attains. If you know me, you are free from all bondages. You are free if you know me. With that, Bhagavan concludes this adhyaya. So, and if you see that this Shanti is the ultimate message of all the scriptures of Sanatana Dharma. The moksha, brahma nirvana, every other term is just a paryaya pada for this Shanti. That is why every Vedic recitation will conclude with Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, like that. So this Shanti Samriddham Amritam Iti Prachina Yogyo, this comes in the Upanishad. Shanti Samriddham Amritam. The unbound amount of peace is bliss. That peace is the actual moksha. So that is the reason why Bhagavan uses the word Shanti. That is it is very heartwarming when Krishna says, know me as the true friend. So rather than saying that, hey, he says both, know me as the Supreme Ishvara and know me as the true friend. Sarva Suhridam. He is the Suhrit. He is the friend. So Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. In another place, Bhagavan says that. So all help comes from him. The main point is, if help does not come from the outside world, all helps comes from Bhagavan. He is the true Suhrit. He is the true friend. There was a Swami in Karnataka in the 18th century. He was called Basavalinga Shivayogi. Mukundur Hill Swami, they call him. I don't know. There is a book by someone who lived with him for 18 years, and he has narrated his life. And one day he was walking with his disciple somewhere. They didn't have anything. He was walking in a forest path. And they were walking, and he was walking with so much of energy and pleasantness, but the person who was coming with him, his disciple who was trying to cater to him, he was unable to walk after a certain time. He was so hungry. He said, Swami, I just cannot make another step. I cannot put another step. I am so hungry. My stomach is just burning. I am unable to do anything. Can we just stop? Can you get me some food? And he said, yes, we'll stop. And he said, can you get me some food? He said, why? Ask for food. Ask for food to Ishvara. He'll give you food. The trees are there. The sky is there. The bird is there. Ask for food. And then the disciple was, Swami, I don't see Ishvara in all these places. You see Ishvara in all these beings. So you ask for food for me. And he said, okay, I'll ask. So an eagle was flying, and he looked at the eagle and said, this guy is hungry. Give him some food. Suddenly, 2 big bananas fell from there, and then on the palm of this guy. Then he eats it, and then he gains his energy and walks. But the point that the author who wrote his biography makes is that there is a very similar incident in the life of Ramakrishna as well. I will narrate that as well. But the point that the author makes is that Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. He is the friend of all creatures, Ishvara, and he is Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He has all capabilities. So that he sees, so he does not see the external world, rather he sees Ishvara in everything that he sees. That is the reason. And of course, due to some yoga bala also it is there, but bhakti bala also will produce that. That's not there is not a miracle there actually. In another, Suhridam is a very beautiful term, and when anybody who have read Bhagavatam, if you mention this term Suhrit, meaning the dearest friend. They will narrate the story of Pingala. I think I have said that before, so I won't go narrate it again. But she was a woman who was like a call girl who was just roaming around the streets looking for a man, and then she couldn't find anybody that day. Then she comes back home, lies down and feels that if I would have married just one man, why would I be in this state? And then she starts inquiring, and then finally sees that, hey, why am I afraid? There is Bhagavan in my heart. This friend is never leaving me. Why do I need another man? And she said, Santam Samipe Ramanam Ratipradam Vittapradam Nityamimam Vihaya Akamadam Dukkha Bhayadi Shokadam Tuchhamyaham Bhaje Gnya Akamadam Dukkha Bhayadi Shoka Pradam Tuchhamaham Bhajegnya. So she says, Santam Samipe Ramanam Ratipradam. The Antaryami is there in my heart. He is there. This friend is there always. Why? She is from the Mithila region, and the Dattatreya Muni quotes her as a guru for him and says, I learned something from that Pingala. So in the 16 gurus he enumerates, Dattatreya mentions this Pingala as a guru and says, I learned that Sarva Bhuta Suhurt is Bhagavan from that person. So Swami Chetanananda, who wrote God Lived with Them. Yeah, I don't know whether you have read that book. That's a very beautiful book. If you have not read, if you are interested in things related to Bhagavan Ramakrishna, there are 16 people who lived with Ramakrishna whose lives are enumerated starting from Swami Vivekananda. Chetanananda wrote this book. The title of the book is God Lived with Them. And in that he says one day Swami Brahmananda, Rakal, they used to call him, and he became Swami Brahmananda much later after Swami Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and all passed away. Rakal was so hungry, so he goes to Ramakrishna and says, I am so hungry. Ramakrishna then goes to the Ganges. He was in Dakshineshwara, and he walks around away from his room, and then if you open the door in Dakshineshwara from Ramakrishna's room, you will see Ganges right there. So he go to Ganga and says, Rakal is hungry. Gaurdasi, bring food. And then he goes inside and sits. After some time, like for 10-15 minutes, a boat arrives. Gaurima and Balaram, who are two disciples of Ramakrishna, get down from the boat and then bring him a pot of rasagulla and then put it in front of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. And Ramakrishna Paramahamsa calls Rakal. Rakal, you said you are very hungry. Take these rasgullas. And then he is embarrassed. Then he tells Ramakrishna, why are you talking about my hunger to these people? These are all visitors. And then he says, what is wrong? You were genuinely hungry and you asked for it, and Ma Kali has brought you food. Suhridam sarva bhutanam. So one of the things that is very beautiful that you see with all these Mahatmas is that there is no world for them that is apart from Bhagavan. For them, Bhagavan and the world are one and the same, and whenever they interacted with that world, they interacted only with Bhagavan. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram Suhridam sarva bhutanam nyatva mam shantim richati. Mam shantim. Here, the beauty is, of course, Nirguna Nirakara Brahman can be pointed out as Mam here, because this Asmat Shabda, this is a Shastra Vishaya, but still I'll point it out. What it is that Shankaracharya, rather than saying this Mam as Nirguna Nirakara Brahma, rather he says Narayanam. here he wants to point out that is Krishna. So that is very beautiful. So we have seen this. The Asmat Shabda in Bhagavad Gita can point to different things. The Devaki's son, Krishna, the friend of Arjuna, Krishna, and then the Atma Krishna, the Jiva, the mom, and then the Ishvara. Here Bhagavan, Acharya points to Sarveshwara Shriman Narayana as Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Nyatva Mam Shanti Mrichati. Iti Srimat Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharyasya Shri Govinda Bhagavat Pujya Pada Sishyasya Srimad Shankara Bhagavat Pada Kritau Srimad Bhagavad Gita Bhashye Panchamodhyayaha Tat Sat. With this, the Panchamadhyaya, iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Panchamadhyayaha Samaptaha. With this ends the 5th Adhyaya of Bhagavad Gita. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Tat Sat Krishnarpanamastu.